when you deprive the parents, you're also hitting the kids. So apartheid government had, an impact in our personal lives. But like I say, there are so many things which happened under apartheid that were good. The infrastructure, townships. I know most people, they will say, yeah, but in the rural areas, we didn't have electricity. Rural areas are different from us, because those were under black administrations, TPVC states, homelands. I cannot call the apartheid government to account on them, because those guys governing themselves, tribal chiefs, their own prime ministers. But under apartheid, the townships like Kwamashu, Balang, Mtlakeng, Val Triangle, Sebokeng, Israel, Soweto were different, because we had those things. Electricity is only later, but people had television, started getting them. Remember, in a society, you cannot all develop at the same time. Smooth as one, nama TV, smooth as one, name auto. This thing is. So we had lots of things that white people had. Not we had. We had our own. Whenever white people, maybe by a swimming pool is in Tina, maybe we have got one Olympic big swimming pool in Orlando. We know what their neighboring townships can share that swimming pool. It's an Olympic size, a white city when they have. I think a stadium. We all use this stadium for big, events. But our ground is now so on cricket. So it's all no matter my townships. We had about bowling during apartheid. We had our halls. That's why we produce stars. And I'm not talking people who are gonna sing go a nightclub, go to overseas in Germany and sing in a coffee shop or in a brothel. International stars, people abaya in Hollywood, Abo Ken Camp, in Hollywood, he was from the East End, Abo Zex Mukai, I think was from Attachville of Socials, I'm not
too familiar with the background.
Yeah, but he, Abo Manhattan Brothers, Abo Masike, the Harare, Abo, it is some, Abo Ipindombi, Abo King Kong, go arts, and then Abo Academy, Abanyaman Biwatondi scholarship. Ibhedlela zethu is top notch. Baragwanath people used to come from London. Bazo practice like Baragwanath. Baragwanath at some point was declared the biggest hospital in the world. So it was the biggest township in the world in the mid-90s during Mandela's presidency. So lots of things were happening here. I mean, South Africa was carried by townships. The revolution happened in the townships. Even our people, when they went to Gongo, universities, Guma homelands, they ignited the fire there. Which, guys, why are you relaxed? And people get abanye bazabalezeka khulu masephumo Mandela. 1990, it was no longer dangerous. But we were there in the trenches. That's why sometimes I question there is animosity, this hatred against township people. Like Benny, they never collaborated with the system of the day. The hatred. Now you find people who are in the homelands enjoying the benefit of apartheid, Guma administration, Iba occupy this position. We are struggling with freedom from Lapo Siabuyela, Sizenzela izinto zethu. Where we are working sevenza lapo, because township people didn't want government jobs. Didn't want to be police, because they viewed those things as an enemy object. So, but people go Venda, go KZN, they were already in those positions. That's why police, they would come from Bovenda. Beze was terrorizer la. I'm a blackjack, as a Eastern Cape, kube nabo Saije, nabo boya Natal, and the bars choba day, Ninaban Beso Soweto. Even now, that has not stopped, because these people, when they came in, Mandela, Tambo, after Bona, it's their children. And they still have that animosity. And we're saying, guys, we don't understand, where is this animosity coming from? We are not used to tribalism. Somebody who comes from KZN will tell you that, what, the first time I intermingled, it was when I came to Joburg. The first time I saw another person who's not Xhosa when I left Eastern Cape. And the people who are governing us, they have no infrastructure. You make that person a minister of transport. He's never seen a tar road. He lived in the Bundus. And you bring somebody, maybe from Sekukuni. He's never interacted with other tribal groups besides Koskokuni, Bolubedu, Spulana. And then he talks to only those people. He come here. You still want to group yourself according to tribal linguistic, groupings. So now we become surprised. Even jobs. go to Pretoria, Chauke Baloi. You go to certain areas, people group themselves according to their clans, Venda, Shumela Venda, 100% Zulu boy. We are not used to that because thina samajite lokushini sihlala ibhola sonke nangu Chaklas basevuwani nangu uSputla mfethu ubabakhe ubuye Malawi. We live like that. There were people from Malawi, people from Rhodesia, Botswana land, Lesotho, besihlala together, kune peace. So that's the problem, Mrs. Tolas Goyo. And the hatred today is still worse. You go to the townships, go to Bosbukeng, poverty, it's high. People maga ngenile lapha. It's because I'm an effort work, wazama ungena, but kuna that ceiling ebegiwe with these ones. Look at a person like Tsietssi Mashinini. I don't think you remember or Tsietssi Mashinini. Tsietssi Mashinini was prominent in the 70s. He was the face of June 16. Nobody speaks of Tsietssi Mashinini today. And back in the days, you had to come to Soweto, no more tsotsi. You had to come to Soweto, and be ordained.
Be ordained to be utsotsi.
Yes. Kube another thing ukuthi awuthi lena mfethu simbonile khula yabo, and the people bana this hatred comes from inferiority complex or from other areas with abantu baseSoweto. They think that they are better. No, because they were in the forefront. Nangebhola buza ngapha ukuthi yazini eSoweto nyazi kune Chiefs ne Pirates kuno Jomo kuno Kaizer. Kwaba another thing, you cannot prevent that. The same way as Egypt, at some point, everybody flocked to Egypt because it was advanced. Today, people buy in New York, tomorrow they'll go to Beijing. Because kuba ne vibe, maybe the last 10 years, 15 years. So at that time, Soweto found itself there. Nabo Mandela bazohlala Soweto. Robert Sobukwe came to Soweto. Stephen Biko, they also intermingled by the Soweto. Tsietssi Machine, kuba another vibe. And they're taking into account because Soweto is closer to Johannesburg. It's one of the closest to Johannesburg. The discovery of gold is where?
In Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg. So therefore the vibe is here. All people are coming from here, different cultures. There's an explosion in culture, the influence. Abanye abantu bayafika who's this guy? I forgot his name. Athol Fugard. When they bring influences, abanye babuye England. In England we do this way. Yeah, they'll never
go to a place which doesn't have a concentration of people.
Yes.
The concentration can only
there's a concentration because there's money here.
Yes,
so there's a magnet. And magnet, the culture and rich. Go Sophia Town. All those things.
Nice. So you describe your upbringing quite affectionately. Please tell us, what do you think is the better infrastructural leader? Do you prefer the old Boer apartheid government or today's ANC government? Which one do you believe can make South Africa the best version of itself that it can be?
You see, what we thought, Tina, after
94.
Yes, because our aim was to destroy apartheid. But the government that was going to come after, it was supposed to take the blueprint, the apartheid, and spread development across the board.
And what happened instead?
But these guys, they came in. Instead of taking Soweto, Sebokeng, Umlazi, KwaMashu, Alanga, to raise the standard, if I'm in the same they destroyed it. They neglected things. They neglected infrastructure that was working. Today, there can be floods for 10 days. Floods. It's flooding. 10 days after the rain, you'll be told that you must use the water sparingly because, water is scarce. But back in the days, I'm a clean, I'm a busy damkok, I'm a drainage system. The water was flowing from drainage, bridges. You cannot have a double-decker highway, but it's flooded. No. Amanzi bohamba aye kuma dams, go Bruma Lake, aphume. Kunala agcinwa khona kuma reservoir ayocleanwa. So we thought that the ANC was going to elevate the standards abantu abamnyama. But unfortunately, these guys, some of them, they were from rural areas, Bundus, there was no running water, kuma toilet, pit toilets. Then they went to exile. They went to Burundi. They went to Rwanda, They've never seen a development. It was going to be easier if these guys, they were in exile in Canada, in United States, because they would have been introduced to better standards. Mabazala was no, we don't deserve this. But now ababona umehluko. Masithi Johannesburg used to be clean. They don't understand what you're talking about. Pretoria used to be clean. Bukers was dropping. They don't understand. They just want to steal money, and they've learned the corruption in those African failed states. Nama homelands labo are corrupt. The product yawo abanye bekwa homeland leaders. Abanye ama-parents wabo, they still carrying on the legacy of the past. Trust fund babies because their fathers looted go Matanzima, go Sebe, go Kaizer. Like now, there's another guy. He's prominent. Like on my radio news. Don't want to mention names. But his father or his grandfather was an apartheid beneficiary via KwaZulu government. But when they present themselves today, they present themselves as if they are entrepreneurs, they are social giants, but they built up on the legacy of apartheid. They've got farms, Tengisomoba, and they still practice their tribalism. They still want to exclude Abanyabantu. They want to be the elite only. And now it's based on looting, because it's who who government. You're in proximity to this guy. We're looting and taking into account the global politics where South Africa finds itself. South Africa doesn't exist for itself. South Africa is a company. It's owned by, the owners of this world, the financiers, the bankers, and the managers from New York Stock Exchange. That's the unfortunate part. We have governments here. They are managers, these guys. White people